This is the top 10 appearances by wrestlers in movies. Number 10, Hulk Hogan, Gremlins 2, The New Batch. Hogan's finest performance came with this cameo in Joe Dante's wonderful sequel to the original Gremlins. Desperate for a follow-up to the ultra-successful first film, Warner Brothers eventually convinced Dante to come aboard by basically giving him the freedom to do whatever the hell he wanted to do with Part 2. The resulting is one of the most out-there Hollywood movies ever made. In possibly the most audacious part of the movie, midway through a scene the film burns up and is replaced by black and white stock footage. We then cut to the cinema you are supposedly watching the film in, where it's revealed that the Gremlins have taken over the projection booth and are choosing to show old volleyball movies instead. Luckily, however, it turns out Hulk Hogan is in the audience with you, and the Hulkster turns to the booth and cuts a promo threatening the Gremlins, who, not knowing what they will do if Hulkamania did indeed run wild over them, put the film back on. This scene was replaced with a different one for the VHS release of the film, incidentally. Number 9, The Rock, Southland Tales. Okay, so Richard Kelly's apocalyptic sci-fi follow-up to Donnie Darko is messy, but that's not to say there aren't some wonderful bits in there to enjoy, even if none of them actually add up to anything. Nonetheless, The Rock playing an action film star with a neurotic twitch on the run from the government is bizarre, unexpected, and not quite successful, but unforgettable performance, kind of like the film itself. Number 8, Ernest the Cat Miller, The Wrestler. Unsurprisingly, considering the subject matter, Mickey Rourke's Oscar-nominated comeback features a host of real-life wrestlers. A lot of the film was shot at Ring of Honor shows, and a lot of the promotion's roster can be seen in the background, including current WWE superstars Cesaro and R-Truth. Indie hardcore grappler Necro Butcher also gets a spotlight during a sickening no-disqualification match with Rourke's Randy the Ram. The guy who gets the biggest role, though, surprisingly, is Ernest the Cat Miller, who played a short-lived comedy character in the WCW Dancing in the Ring more than he wrestled. Miller plays the Ayatollah, an old-school Arab-themed bad guy in vein of the Iron Sheik, Rourke's old rival from his 80s heyday. Miller actually gives the Ayatollah, or Bob as most people call him in real life, a real dignity as a happy guy who now owns a car dealership, contrasting with Rourke's washed-up and desperate Randy the Ram. Number 7, The Rock, Welcome to the Jungle, a.k.a. The Rundown. Welcome to the Jungle, or The Rundown as it was originally titled on its U.S. release, might just be The Rock's greatest action film. On paper, it's a standard buddy movie with mercenary The Rock and rich kid Sean William Stott getting stuck in Latin America and end up having to battle evil diamond harvester Christopher Walken. The comedy is genuinely funny, and the cast is great, and the action is tight and genuinely exciting. Chalk this down to director Peter Berg, a smart guy whose films are always a lot clever than they first appear, apart from maybe Battleship. But it's also one of the first films where The Rock felt like a true leading man, especially the fantastic finale where his character learns to love shooting people with guns again. Number 6, Kevin Nash, The Punisher. The Tom Jane version of the Marvel Vigilante is a weird, uneven film, but it has moments of genius. None more so than brief appearances of Kevin Nash, the early 90s superstar formerly known as Diesel. Main bad guy John Travolta does the whole "get the best assassin we got to get this guy" bit and calls the Russian, played by Nash. Nash only appears in the one scene to have a wordless smackdown with the Punisher, and it would be a standout scene in any action movie you care to mention. It runs through several cliches, like there's a big guy who don't react when you hit him, and a violent action scene contrasting with ironic classical music soundtrack. And also, there's music playing so side characters don't hear the fight and joke about the other in the other room, obviously. But it's just so effective and well staged, it's funny and brutal. It's superbly edited, has great sound design, and every little body movement and facial expression is spot on. Nash just pops up, has the fight, then dies. Number 5, Jesse Ventura, The Predator. Jesse Ventura's most iconic screen role is without a doubt his turn in this Muddy Soldiers vs. Invisible Alien Hunter classic. Despite being part of a squad that includes such badasses as Arnie, Apollo Creed, and Commando's Bill Duke. Ventura still manages to come off as possibly the coolest, carrying a gigantic gun called Old Painless and describing himself as a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. The Rock, Be Cool. The belated sequel to Get Shorty, which attempts to skewer the music industry like the original did Hollywood, is generally a pretty wretched film. The one highlight, however, is The Rock in his first notable non-action role, stealing the film as Vince Vaughn's gay bodyguard and wannabe actor. Number 3. Batista, Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's put this into perspective. At the 2014 Royal Rumble, Batista returned to the WWE after 4 wins to win a title shot at WrestleMania. It was a slot that the fans wanted to go to Daniel Bryan, but instead they forced the returning big name on the fans, hoping for some crossover success on his name recognition, and the fans reacted badly. Batista was booed out of the building and quickly became the most hated man in wrestling. Fast forward to the end of the summer, and suddenly Batista is a proper movie star and everyone loves him. Marvel Studios head honcho Kevin Feige had spoken about how much effort Big Dave put into winning the part. It just seems like PR puff, but it turns out it's all true. He took the obscure character of Drax the Destroyer and delivered every scene with perfect comic timing that no one ever knew he had. Everyone knew Batista as a big snarling bad guy. Who thought he could be so funny and lovable? Obviously, he looked the part. Ironically, for an alien character, he made the part so human. The mid-credit scene where Groot dances with the Jackson 5 without him knowing might just be the great summer blockbuster moment of 2014, and it's all Batista. Number 2, The Rock, Pain and Gain. In 20 years' time, in some minds at least, Pain and Gain will be an acknowledged classic. The true story of a gang of bodybuilders turned incompetent criminals who took a guy hostage in an attempt to make a quick buck is almost like the best Coen Brothers movie the Coen Brothers never made. Either by design or by accident, the film has managed to capture the narcissistic stupidity of 3 idiots who think they're in Goodfellas, but are really just auditioning for America's Dumbest Criminals. It's a brilliantly savage takedown of the American dream, people who think their lives are so important that they're the stars of their own movie. Every character gets their own chance to narrate the film, and they all turn out to be horrible, nasty idiots, apart from maybe Rebel Wilson, who's just very naive and unlucky. It's the role The Rock has been waiting his whole career for, a genuine character with depth and development, but also that allows for him to show off his brilliant comic timing. It's also one that only The Rock could play. And number 1, Roddy Piper, They Live. Despite nearly being 30 years old, They Live hasn't waned a bit. If anything, with social mobility seeming less possible all the time, it's maybe even timelier. John Carpenter's brilliant satire stars Piper as a drifter who happens upon a pair of sunglasses that reveals the truth hidden from us, that the world is actually controlled by aliens, and billboards and advertising are all just feeding simple controlling messages like obey and consume. There's a school of thought that the film would be better if Carpenter's usual leading man Kurt Russell had taken the lead role. That's completely wrong. Of course, Russell is a better actor than Roddy Piper, but this film is all about the honest working man. Russell is a good-looking Hollywood star. Piper feels like the sort of guy that would really be in this situation. Piper is absolutely perfect for the role. There's so much love about They Live, the alien design, the bluesy score, I came to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and, of course, the incredibly long street fight between Piper and Keith David. But at the end of the day, it's just a brilliant, savage satire and the perfect example of what sly genre cinema can be at its very best. This was Top 10 Movie Appearances by Wrestlers. What's your favorite cameo by a wrestler in a film? Leave your comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling videos.